FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, it's going to be the ultimate guide to double game week 24. We're going to be going over how to prepare for the upcoming double game week and what players to look at. We're also going to be talking about some chip strategy. A lot of questions over on my Twitter about what chips to use and if we should be using them. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. Link down below if you do want to use my download link to download this wonderful app. Thanks again for sponsoring the video. If you don't know, OneFootball is the everything football related app. It's free to download on iOS or Android, and you can see there on the table. I'm following the Premier League right now. Gives me all the goals, assists, and whatever I need to know, as well as following my favorite team if I do want to follow a team, which is for me Liverpool, but for you it could be anyone else. Also, if you want to track more leagues than just the Premier League, go and check out this app. As I said, link down below. So game week 24, if you don't know, you probably do, as we've been talking about it for quite a while now, is a double game week for West Ham United as well as Liverpool. So West Ham's fixtures are against Leicester and Liverpool, and then Liverpool's fixtures are against Wolves and West Ham. So both Liverpool's games are away, but the nice thing about this game week 24 that's been different to previous double game weeks is that Liverpool and West Ham basically have a full week of rest between their fixtures. So usually what happens is the game week is on a Saturday, Sunday, then the double game week is on a Wednesday, Thursday. But no, this game week we have Thursday to Wednesday or Wednesday to Wednesday for both of these teams. That's really nice, as both teams should probably be playing full strength squads and we don't have to worry about rotation. Obviously rotation can always occur, but at least in this double game week it's a little less of a certainty. So the worst case scenario from now till game week 24, and the real reason why I'm making this video so early on, I'm not making this video a week before game week 24 as I want to give you guys as much time to prepare, and I think this game week is the perfect game week to talk about the double. So if you have not used your transfer, you obviously will have more transfers, but worst case scenario, you will have 3 transfers if you haven't used your transfer for game week 22. So 3 free transfers is perfectly enough to get those Liverpool players in if you don't. Most people own 1 or 2 right now, and my recommendation for you guys is to have at least 1 attacker and 1 defender from Liverpool. So Liverpool is going to be my preference for this double game week. I don't think that there'll be any kind of argument against that. Liverpool are just the better side, best team in the Premier League at the moment, so you definitely want to be looking at them for this double. So with the chip strategy, you know the 3 chips: free hit, bench boost, triple captain. We're not going to be talking about the wild card because I don't think the wild card is too relative to this game week. But with the free hit, I would recommend you not use the free hit for this game week. Reason being, it's not a blank game week, it's a double game week. So save the free hit chip if you have not used it already for later in the season. Reason being is that there's going to be a lot of teams blanking. We're going to have a game week where about 4 or 5 teams blank, and that's when you want to use your free hit so that you can completely nullify those missing players and get yourself a strong starting 11. The bench boost, it's going to be the same. You want to use your bench boost in a double game week, but I wouldn't be using it on a double game week with only 2 teams. You're not going to be able to afford a lot of Liverpool players and not even a lot of West Ham players as well, especially because we don't have enough time to prepare. If you wildcarded already and have a really strong bench, I might consider it, but I always like using that bench boost with more teams in a double game week because that allows you to get a very good projected points and almost maximize your points, spreading your bench amongst a lot of teams. With the triple captain though, that's the only chip that I would be considering for game week 24, and whether you use it on Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah is another story. So those would be my 2 preferences for the triple captain. You can always use it on someone else such as Alexander-Arnold or Robertson, or maybe even Firmino, or if you want to take an outrageous punt on one of the West Ham players, but I would stick to probably Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah, and whether you go for either of them is a different story. This is one of the toughest captaincy decisions to go for, especially with that triple captain. You're going to have to kind of predict who you think is going to score well. Right off the bat, I do think Mane is a slightly better option, just been in better form throughout the season, but then Salah has that differential, almost higher ceiling. He just pops up in some games, scores 2 or 3 goals, and then you won't be thinking twice about captaining. But I think the safer option is definitely Sadio Mane, but the easier decision is whoever you have in your team, captain them. If you have doubled up on that midfield, it makes the situation a little bit trickier, but that is a really nice decision to have, as I think both of these players will do well. So West Ham assets, what assets should you be looking at? My first advice for you is I would only get West Ham assets if you already have Liverpool assets. If you don't want to get any more Liverpool assets then I think it's perfectly fine to look at West Ham, but I do think we have to prioritize the Liverpool assets before. On screen here I have only one West Ham asset that I'm currently looking at, and that is Fabianski. The West Ham goalkeeper came back from injury and managed to get a clean sheet on his return, but I do think the save points, it's where it's at. So West Ham have two very tough fixtures, Leicester and Liverpool. I'm expecting them to concede in both those games. No disrespect to the West Ham, but I do think that their fans will even agree with me that the defense hasn't been that assured throughout the season. And when you're facing the attacks of Liverpool and Leicester, probably two of the top three attacks in the Premier League, you're probably going to be conceding. So why am I still going for Fabianski if I think they're going to concede? Reason being the save points. So 1 or 2 save points every game should probably lead him to more points than a single game week clean sheet. So if he gets 2 or 3 save points, maybe about 8 points for that entire game week, still 2 points better than another single game week player. And with Fabianski, he's offering really good points per game since coming back and even before he got injured. So you can still keep him for the rest of the season if so be it. And he does come in below that 5 million mark, so cheap enough to kind of switch and rotate whoever you want. But other options you could go for, I've seen the likes of Cresswell mentioned. He's another attacking defender from West Ham you could go for, or maybe even Haller from their attack. But I don't really trust the West Ham attack, especially because they're facing those really tough defenses. With Liverpool assets, the reason I'm favoring Liverpool assets is just look at those fixtures after game week 24. They go straight into a sea of green, which makes them really easy to keep a hold on. And with the form Liverpool are in currently, I definitely think you're going to be wanting to hold on to them for the rest of the season. My personal preferences for this double game week is I think you have to try and go for the triple up. Reason being, it's the best chance to maximize your potential points in this double game week, and hopefully it gives us that little bit of an extra edge over those players who simply either can't afford to bring in these Liverpool options or don't have the free transfers. So the options you can go for is 2 attackers plus 1 defender, or 2 defenders plus 1 attacker. I know that's quite arbitrary, as a lot of you know that already, but when I'm talking about attackers, I'm meaning midfielders or forwards, and then defenders, either the goalkeepers or the defenders. So as I said, the triple up is where it's at, and let's get into what players you can get. So the first one we're going to run over is the 2 defenders plus 1 attacking option. Right off the bat, I wanted to give a little bit of a disclaimer. You can swap and rotate any of these players. Obviously, if I say Trent Alexander-Arnold plus Robertson, it means those 2 players. But as you see Salah on the screen there, you can always swap out for Mane, or if you really favor Firmino, you can always do that. They're kind of just placeholders here. I'll talk really on the players that I'm thinking about when I do address them, and that can kind of give you an indication of who you should bring in. So the first option there, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, and Mohamed Salah. So that's probably the favored option if you're going to go 2 defenders, 1 attacker. Reason being, you all know how good the wingbacks or fullbacks for Liverpool are. Constantly getting forward, bringing in great crosses, offering that assisting threat, and even the occasional goal threat. I'm really hoping for a goal return from one of the Liverpool defenders this game week, as I think that'll spice things up quite nicely. But then obviously you can complement them with whoever you want, Mo Salah or Sadio Mane. I think that this is a really good option, and I would say that this is the safety option to go for. The Liverpool defenders are a constant stream of points, getting those clean sheets now recently, and also offering that attacking threat. They also come in quite a lot cheaper if you're going to double up on the attack. So if you want to go for a nice safe option, an easy transfer to do if you can't afford the attackers, then I would look at this option. If you really can't afford this top option, you can always sub in Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez started the last 5 games. I think he's got 5 clean sheets in 5 games, which is absolutely sensational. Not much attacking threat, but you're kind of saving a lot of budget on him, so I think you can understand that. Reason being why I haven't included Virgil van Dijk. He does offer more attacking threat than Joe Gomez, but I think if you can willing to spread to Van Dijk, you might as well just get Andy Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold. You're getting another centre back here with Joe Gomez. Gomez, so it complements Van Dijk quite nicely and offers a cheaper route into that Liverpool defense. So this is the option I would go for. As I said, a really safe option, and if you really don't have the budget for Andy Robertson, you can always kind of sub in Joe Gomez. And then with the attacker, you can kind of go for anyone you want. My preference would probably be Sadio Mane. I've just included Mo Salah here as he was the highest scorer in Game Week 21. And now my personal preference, and I think the option that we should all be looking at, is the 2 attackers plus 1 defender. The reason for this is I think the ceiling is just a lot higher, and I really want to go for the potential in a double game week. I mean, imagine if Mo Salah and Sadio Mane both score 4 goals each. They're going to be one of the best scorers in that team, and although they're not as safe an option as the Liverpool defense, I do think they have the highest ceiling. So my personal preference, I know quite an expensive one, is Mo Salah plus Sadio Mane, and then complementing them, I would go for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I would go for Trent out of my favorite defense, as he's the best option, I believe. He offers that massive attacking threat. I know Andy Robertson did quite well in Game Week 21, but I think over the season, Trent will do a lot better. He's on the occasional free kick even, which offers a nice direct goal if he does get it in. So this is my preferred option, and probably the one that I'm going to be looking at getting in. I don't think a lot of people will be opting for this option, as it is very expensive. So I do think if you can afford this option, it's a massive differential. As I said, not a lot of people will have it. The other option you could go for, and a lot of people are going for this one due to the easy upgrade from Rashford or from Kane, is to opt for Firmino instead of one of the midfielders. So you can go for Mo Salah / Sadio Mane and Firmino complemented by defender. So with Firmino, not in the best form currently, but he's still scoring quite a lot of goals. So you can go from, I just don't think I trust him as much as a Mo Salah or Sadio Mane, and I don't think if I had him, I would captain him. So that's why I'm leaning a little bit more towards the double up in midfield. But Firmino also offers a nice outlet for that Liverpool attack. He's always involved with at least 1 goal every game. So definitely a good option. And as I said, really easy upgrade from Rashford or Kane. So makes him quite attractive. But I would definitely look at going for the 2 attackers plus 1 defender, as I think throughout the rest of the season, not even in Game Week 24, this is going to offer us more points. So this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and hopefully now you are ready for Game Week 24. And I'm really hoping Game Week 24 is going to be an absolutely stellar first double game week of the season, and hopefully can lead us in the right direction from now till the end of the season and get us lots of green arrows from then. Please like the video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you're new or have not subscribed yet. I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.